To every man is given the key to the gates of heaven. The same key opens the gates of hell. And so it is with science. It is the facts that matter, not the proofs. Physics can progress without the proofs, but we can't go on without the facts. It doesn't matter how beautiful your theory is. It doesn't matter how smart you are. If it doesn't agree with experiment, it's wrong. A great deal is more known than has been proved. There is nothing that living things do that cannot be understood from the point of view that they are made of atoms acting according to the laws of physics. If science is to progress, what we need is the ability to experiment. Poets say science takes away from the beauty of the stars, mere globs of gas atoms. Nothing is mere. I too can see the stars on a desert night and feel them. There were several possible solutions of the difficulty of classical electrodynamics, any one of which might serve as a good starting point to the solution of the difficulties of quantum electrodynamics. You're unlikely to discover something new without a lot of practice on old stuff. But further, you should get a heck of a lot of fun out of working out funny relations and interesting things. Scientific knowledge is an enabling power to do either good or bad, but it does not carry instructions on how to use it. Is science of any value? I think a power to do something is of value. If there is something very slightly wrong in our definition of the theories, then the full mathematical rigor may convert these errors into ridiculous conclusions. It is important to doubt, and that the doubt is not a fearful thing, but a thing of great value. It has not yet become obvious to me that there is no problem. I cannot define the real problem. Therefore, I suspect there is no real problem, but I'm not sure there is no real problem. Nature uses only the longest threads to weave her patterns, so that each small piece of her fabric reveals the organization of the entire tapestry. God was invented to explain mystery. I'm just looking to find out more about the world, and if it turns out there is a simple ultimate law which explains everything, so be it. That would be very nice to discover. A poet once said, "The whole universe is in a glass of wine." We will probably never know in what sense he meant it, for poets do not write to be understood. I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. No problem is too small or too trivial if we can really do something about it. Einstein was a giant. His head was in the clouds, but his feet were on the ground. The most remarkable discovery in all of astronomy is that the stars are made of atoms of the same kind as those on the Earth. I don't believe in honors. It bothers me. Honors bother. Honors are epaulets. Honors are uniforms. For a successful technology, reality must take precedence over public relations, for nature cannot be fooled. The internal machinery of life, the chemistry of the parts, is something beautiful, and it turns out that all life is interconnected with all other life. It is really quite impossible to say anything with absolute precision unless that thing is so abstracted from the real world as to not represent any real thing. Perhaps one day we will have machines that can cope with approximate task descriptions, but in the meantime, we have to be very prissy about how we tell computers to do things. We absolutely must leave room for doubt, or there's no progress and no learning. I can live with doubt and uncertainty and not knowing. I think it is much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers that might be wrong. The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. I have approximate answers and possible beliefs and different degrees of certainty about different things, but I'm not absolutely sure of anything. Nobody ever figures out what life is all about, and it doesn't matter. Explore the world. Nearly everything is really interesting if you go into it deeply enough. People often think I'm a faker, but I'm usually honest in a certain way, in such a way that often nobody believes me. I don't have to know an answer. I don't feel frightened by not knowing things, by being lost in the mysterious universe without having any purpose, which is the way it really is, as far as I can tell. The ideas associated with the problems of the development of science, as far as I can see by looking around me, are not of the kind that everyone appreciates. We seem gradually to be groping toward an understanding of the world of subatomic particles, but we really do not know how far we have yet to go in this task. The situation in the sciences is this: a concept or an idea which cannot be measured or cannot be referred directly to experiment may or may not be useful. It need not exist in a theory. When I would hear the rabbi tell about some miracle, such as a bush whose leaves were shaking, but there wasn't any wind, I would try to fit the miracle into the real world and explain it in terms of natural phenomena. We're always, by the way, in fundamental physics, always trying to investigate those things in which we don't understand the conclusions. After we've checked them enough, we're okay. There is nothing that living things do that cannot be understood from the point of view that they are made of atoms acting according to the laws of physics. In any decision for action, when you have to make up your own mind what to do, there is always a should involved, and this cannot be worked out from "if I do this, what will happen" alone. Because atomic behavior is so unlike ordinary experience, it is very difficult to get used to, and it appears peculiar and mysterious to everyone, both to the novice and to the experienced physicist.